Welcome back everyone, and it's time to go balls deep! And if you've read this week's Black Clover chapter, I'm pretty sure you know what I'm gonna say. It was perfect!
It was perfect!
Listen, come here. Shut your stupid ass up!
Okay, so, it had some issues?
You need to leave!
No, come on guys, there are definitely some positive things I want to discuss besides the elephant in the room, but one of the positives are obviously Noelle and Asta's ship. You know what I'm saying?
Give your meat a good old rub. Yeah, boy.
The chapter starts off with the conclusion of the fight against the devil Megicula, showing the Heart Queen's curse finally disappearing, and their goal of the time skip from chapter 228 finally resolved. She wakes up naked in Asta's arms as he admits not looking at anything because he respects women. Although Noelle gets extremely jealous of Asta touching someone other than herself, so she punches him soccer style.
You slapped me, you monkey!
Marry me.
Asta praises Noelle and goes to greet her as he had been worried since the Heart Kingdom was first attacked. But Noelle is so overwhelmed she doesn't know how to react and punches Asta before he can even greet Noelle properly. This is where some fans are upset. I'm gonna have to admit it and be honest with you guys, because they feel like Noelle's feelings for Asta has been regressed back to her acting hard to get once again. Why didn't Noelle greet Asta by saying something simple such as, "I'm glad you're safe," or "Thank you, Asta," or even something as simply hugging him or giving him a handshake or a fist bump? And I'd say I'd agree with this opinion, partly. I thought that would tie in her progression of embracing her love for Asta much better than what we got, as it would acknowledge her own point to Udine the water spirit regarding it's not wrong to love someone by embracing it. Every small step to an eventual full-on confession to Asta is better than nothing at all. Remember when Naruto fans criticized Sakura for how much she abused Naruto by punching him whilst he was such a good guy in all those filler episodes? So why can't the same point be raised here? On the other hand, there is some progression for Noelle's character. In her inner dialogue, she admits her feelings for Asta instead of denying it and not knowing what it's about. She finally acknowledged that she is in love with him. So maybe when she witnesses Charlotte doing it for Yami at the end of this arc because Charlotte wants to admit her love to Yami, she will finally gain some more courage and there will be more development. Before we dive any deeper, I want to thank our sponsors ExpressVPN. Right now they are giving you a special discounted subscription of 3 extra months for free with our special link in the description and comment section below. We have been using ExpressVPN for over a year and we love the benefits. For example, we are in the UK, meaning we have limited options for streaming, but with ExpressVPN, we have access to limited region exclusive content. With just a press of a button, we can go to Japan, USA, and other regions to watch anime which you wouldn't normally have. For example, I can watch Naruto with the Canadian version of Netflix, which the UK version currently doesn't have. Another benefit is that some of you like searching up your favorite waifu doing your research. Now, I get it, you're probably using the private browser tab thinking, oh gee, it does the job and no one will know. But this isn't true. Your history can still be logged with your day-to-day activities by your internet service provider, by the way, and then could potentially be sold to third parties depending on which country you live in. ExpressVPN can help protect you because it will reroute your connection and keep everything private so that no one can trace you from your public IP address. It's best to use this service in public places like the library or coffee shop too. There isn't even a drop in internet speed due to their VPN server locations. So start by clicking on our link in the description, expressvpn.com/abd. You can get 3 months for free with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's nothing to lose. Anyways, now that the curse has been lifted, Nozel can now freely talk about the curse and doesn't know where to begin explaining, as he feels like he still can't talk to his sister Noelle because of how he's been distancing from others his entire life. The This was really touching as we see him blushing, and it makes sense since Noelle is the spitting image of their mother, which reminds me to mention why their mother Asia Silva wasn't even addressed. At the end of chapter 303, we saw her soul greet them one last time. Why are the children who just accomplished their life's work not even contemplating what had just happened?
I'm confused right now, G.
Now, Rill apologizes to Charlotte about the spell running out soon, as he thinks that he still hasn't achieved his ultimate picture. This is where his Deus Ex Machina spell called the Twilight of Valhalla deactivates. This results in Gaja, Charlotte and Rill falling unconscious. Everyone is in a panic, as the damage received during the spell is now being returned, so they fear the worst. The Heart Queen is in a panic state and she tries her best to heal Gaja, but she is unsuccessful, which is understandable of course. I mean, Gaja literally told the readers that he used up all of his life force in his final attack. We even got duped into seeing his grimoire disappear, which is connected to your soul and is the one thing that we were told as readers that you're dead in the Black Clover world if this happens. So not only did he use 100% of his life force, he was revived with the Twilight of Valhalla to only die through its recoil damage of the spell. So Gaja should be beyond saving and he has died twice. So many of you wrote comments on my last week's video stating that Gaja will die anyway, so it's fine. But now that he has survived, I swear to God, some of you have switched up your opinions. Oh guys, death isn't required for a good story or for the stakes. It's not important. It's fine, Gaja's alive. Now he can have development. Nacht himself comments about how the righteous are not always rewarded, and that's reality. These words are very truthful and should be explored because even in our world, I'm pretty sure all of us have experienced something like that. However, to Barter, he says no. He summons Mimosa as she pulls up, doing an ultimate magic spell that heals and revives everyone. Barter keeps getting away with duping us, man. Time and time again, he just somehow manages to find a way to avoid a character's certain death. Even the villains, for God's sake, have survived. Patry, remember Sally, Rades.
Who are you people?
Literally every single person has been revived in this series with no ramifications or consequences. No one has died, not even the villains, bruh.
You can't keep getting away with this! You can't keep getting away with it!
Now, if you had hit the notification bell for the channel, you wouldn't really be surprised as we directly address this point that Gaja could have been healed in the meantime of the Twilight of Valhalla being active. And usually we would be saying something like, oh god damn it, balls deep, prediction magic has come correct once more. However, for the first time, this is actually something I didn't want to come true, as this completely trivializes the stakes in the series and just makes events, fights, and the villains feel like a joke. Why should we care about what the villains do now? Some of you in the previous video also commented, oh wait ABD, you guys mentioned Licht, the First Wizard King, and Nacht's brother as deaths. But that shit is in the flashbacks. That don't count, mate. That's like counting Minato's death in Naruto, when we already knew the dude is dead in episode 1. With what has happened in this chapter, everything the characters said before has no meaning. It was all fake tension and drama. Readers will now assume it's a fake death and we are being duped in the future of reading this series. This is very detrimental to Black Clover's writing, since this cycle of constantly putting characters in harm's way to just nullify any sense of drama or intensity by completely undoing any damage done with absolutely zero consequences will actually cause the readers to stop caring. But I must say, let me say something positive. One redeeming thing is that at least Asta acknowledges Mimosa and his harem a bit more by praising her, and she's like, oh, and you know, she falls more in love with him because that's what we want at the end of the day. Let's be honest, we care about that shit but more.
Yes!
Anyways, in chapter 304, it continues with the Heart Queen thanking Gaja for the rescue when he does the unthinkable. Gaja confesses to the Heart Queen and states that he doesn't love Lolo as a queen, but also as a woman, and everyone freaks out about this. The Heart Queen doesn't know what to say and is all flustered, which is funny because in the anime, she said to Mimosa and Noelle that she doesn't actually romantically love Gaja. My man's down bad. He's gonna get rejected. Let's see what happens. Maybe she was lying to herself.
All women are queens. If she breathes, she's a thought!
Nozel then acknowledges Noelle's strength and then wants to thank Yami for that by saving his life, which at this point has solidified the William meme on this channel.
Who?
William, the guy no one cares about and you guys personally forgot about too?
Who?
Literally, not one person in this war so far has mentioned William's name. They only talk about saving Yami, which means William probably is being set up to be sacrificed to save this arc. This chapter can be boiled down to three main issues. The first issue is the fact that the chapter had little sense of continuity from the previous chapter, where for example, the touching moment of Nozel and Noelle getting to reunite with their mother's soul is completely forgotten about, as if it never happened at all. This makes it feel like there's little breathing room for the characters to properly express themselves. Another example of this is the fact that the Heart Queen just does not care about what had happened previously. You know, about her turning into a devil and attacking her own friends and loved ones, having Megicula turn her against her own very nature. This is just completely forgotten, and the Heart Queen just apologizes for them having to rescue her, when clearly there was much more going on with her character. Why hasn't she self-reflected about the events or shown any remorse? The tone is completely off, as if we're not at a war. Why is everything suddenly happily ever after? The second issue was the convenient writing that we can all admit as a community. First off is the fact that Real Spell is so convenient that it can basically be described as a Deus Ex Machina, which basically means there's an unnatural and unlikely intervention that's suddenly introduced to conveniently handle a situation. The characters literally scream out, "We cannot die," and it didn't mean anything anyway since healers are so overpowered. Look at one of our subscribers and viewers, Jehu. One of our subscribers freaking unlocked Ballsy prediction magic. Everyone saw this coming. Shout out to Jehu, man. That's why it's so important to hit the notification bell for the channel, guys. You can unlock your potential just like my dude, gain our powers. Bruh, smash that like button and watch my previous video after this one about Asta's future samurai powers. And now onto the third and final issue, and it's the fact that the dialogue seems a bit iffy. For example, Noelle saying that reality can be whatever they want it to be because it's magic. It kind of literally makes no sense in the context of the story and world of Black Clover, because magic is their reality. It's a fundamental part of the world. Previously, she stated power level doesn't matter in the fight against Vanica, but we clearly know it actually does because that's what made them win. They unlocked more powerful spells through training and surpassing their limits. If magic can do whatever the protagonists want it to be, that just tells the readers not to care about death or the drama that we are reading, because there's no way they will lose if that was the case. On top of that, why isn't this logic applied to the villains? They are using magic too, aren't they?
That don't make no sense.
In the Elf arc, Tabata explored a lot of philosophical and political issues with the characters and story. For example, racism, where Asta decides to be one of his missions to end it when he becomes the Wizard King, or even classism, which is an aspect very apparent within the country's society that needs to be addressed, as it was the cause of Asta's suffering within the world. But he literally states that he wants to prove everyone wrong by stating class and upbringing and background doesn't matter. Anyone can achieve success in this world no matter the background if they worked hard. And lastly, it was even exploring the corruption of politics, where the royal king and others had dark roots that stole from the elves, and they achieved their power through evil means and are just trying to maintain their agenda through their corrupt ideals. However, Asta, Julius and the gang wanted to expose that, and they still try to. However, in this Dark Triad arc, there is no deep philosophical message or ideological battle that determines any of the fights. Yeah, the metaphors are great, the artwork is amazing, 10 out of 10, and there's a lot of hype transformations that we all love, but this is why a lot of you find it difficult to care about the characters, since it's not story driven. It's just a clash of good versus evil evil for the sake of it. To address my point, think about the Dark Triad. Nacht told us that they are unjust evil, evil for the sake of being evil. The only ideological factor we learnt about them is that they believe power is absolute and evil is in the nature of humans. Tabata didn't bother giving the Dark Triad depth as a result, such as exploring the idea of what makes a psychopath. How do they think differently to a protagonist and a normal human being? What makes them create their decision making through their psychological differences to Asta, for example? Instead, we received 3 babbling idiots repeating the same shit that do nothing but are just presented as bad people. On the other hand, when it comes to the protagonists, they have their good ideal but never address it to the villains in a meaningful way, unlike in the Elf arc in comparison that explores the moral complexity of the situation with their clash of ideals. The backstories for Nacht, Asta and Nozel, for example, they're absolutely flames, no one's denying that. Even the power-ups are awesome. This arc does have sprinkled moments of 10 out of 10 hype. In my opinion, when it comes to Asta's character and his chapters, there are layers being added and that's why I love him. The same goes for Nacht, where his implementation immediately made him one of the best characters already. Even Magna vs Dante was really good writing in my opinion, as it addressed a very important aspect regarding what it means to be a protagonist. Although some of you, I have to admit, I read the comments, a lot of you don't like that aspect because it devalued Dante. I've personally talked to a lot of Black Clover fans and a lot of them tell me how they feel, and that's in regards to this arc, that the fights are amazing but they lack substance. They miss the tone and the deep story driven aspects of the series that was previously in the Elf arc, where it encompassed everything good about the show. Now, I don't know if there's any correlation here, but after the Elf arc, Tabata's original editor changed, so this could be a problem where the advice and directions has been altered for him. That's why Black Clover is becoming more like fairy tale nowadays, where it's much more fan service as usual, it's much more light-hearted, it's all about friendship rather than the other aspects that some of you love more. Anyway, make sure to let me know your opinion in the comment section below. What do you think is actually going on in Black Clover? Is it for the better? Actually, you know what's important? Right now, all of you should comment, what do you rate this arc out of 10 right now? Let's all be honest with ourselves. That will be a good gauge for us all. So if you got to the end of the video, let me know what you rate this arc and why. What are the faults that you see that make you drop it some of the points? Thank you for joining me as always, guys, and I'll see you next time.